ඒක යනවා. උඩ තියෙන link එක නේද?
ඔව් මට ආවා. හරි දැන් සර් දෙවෙනි link එක දාන්න ළමයිට. කලින්ම වගේ. උඩ තියෙන link එක ළමයිට දාන්න. සර් මට දාන්න බලන්න.
මේක
follow access දාන්න. follow.
බලවන්නේ හරි.
හරි නේද? link එක මට දාන්න. link එක මට දාන්න. හරි මම දැන් call එක කට් කරලා කියලා බලනවා.
okay. All right. Well, okay. Thanks, Rohan. Thank you.
එනවනේ ඕ දෙවිල දාගෙන එන පුරාගෙන එනවා මම කන්න ඔයා කන්න මම මේ බලමු මොකද්ද මේ මිනිස්යා කරන්න කියලා हाँ मिस पොඩක් ඉන්න සර් මේක මේවා කරාම දාමු
Right. Good morning, guys. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Very good. Sorry, there was a connection failure there. So we'll start then. So give me a second. Right. Okay, cool. Right. So hope you all can hear me. Right. Good. So guys, I'm going to mute your mics. Um, But if you have any questions, you can ask, right? So basically, this is a very, so we are going to start the online session. So again, this is a very easy paper. I hope you all went through this paper. And so basically the idea of doing this paper is actually the most of the topic we have already discussed in detail. So just wanted to recall your knowledge, right? So just want you to keep in touch with your knowledge. That's all, right? So we have discussed most of the parts in detail. So I'm not going to explain in and out in all the questions, but there are few new important key points are there when we are discussing. So we need to highlight, right? So we'll go to the, so we'll discuss the paper, right? So again, guys, so we'll start with the MCQs, right? So this is the online class 15 and the revision paper 11. So MCQ, right? So factors contributing physiological anemia of infancy includes increased arterial oxygen saturation in the newborn. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Right. So good. So factors contributing physiological anemia of infancy include increase include A, increased arterial oxygen saturation in the newborn compared to fetus, and fetal to adult hemoglobin switch, decreased erythropoietin production, iron deficiency anemia, and maternal anemia. So can you guys send me your answers? Can you all send me your answers? So can you all can you all send your answers? Quickly, tuck, 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 tuck. Guys, send me your answers. Good. So send me your answers. Only one person has two. Okay. Very good. Okay, right. So again, like good. So right, if we discuss, okay, so I think so most of them didn't send their answers because I think most of you all have poor knowledge regarding this topic. Actually, this is a very common topic, Lamai. So most of this is very practical, common case scenario you might experience in your day-to-day life when you are practicing the ward. So basically, this is all about physiological anemia in infancy, right? Physiological anemia in infancy. So tell me, this is very common. So right. So tell me roughly. So hemoglobin at birth. So tell me, what is the amount of hemoglobin at birth? What is the range? Here, so in adults, of course, you say so it's about 12 hemoglobin. The low margin is 12, and sometimes in children you say it as 11. Right. So what in a newborn, what is the cutoff usually? Here the hemoglobin level, like what is the cutoff usual? What is the range, or at least what is the minimum cutoff? Anemia can what is the cutoff? Very good, Diva. Very good. The cutoff is, so the low cutoff is the 15. So the normal range is between the 15 to 24, right? So so it's the normal range, 15 to 24. That is the norm. That is the normal range in a newborn. So if it is something like 12, that is significant. That is of course, obviously, that is anemia. But what will happen? So during intrauterine life, what will happen? So there is an there is an high hemoglobin concentration so inside when so during the fetal life there is an high hemoglobin concentration. So why is that? What's the reason? So one thing is, so they have low oxygen saturation inside when the when the baby is inside the uterus. So in the fetus, so the oxygen concentration will be saturation, or the concentration will be comparatively low. Why? So because they get oxygen from the mother through the placental circulation, right? So that is the reason. So they have low concentration of oxygen. That is one reason, right? So other problem is so because of that, because of this low concentration of oxygen, there will be an erythropoietin stimulation, right? So kidney is not so happy, so kidney will tries to produce more and more erythropoietin, so there will be an increased amount of hemoglobin. So that is one reason. Other reason is during the fetal life, the what is the main hemoglobin component? මොකද්ද වැඩිපුරම තියෙන hemoglobin ජාතිය? So there are several types of hemoglobins are there, no? So there is one called HbA1, HbA2, right, and the HbF. Those are the important ones. So what is the what is the commonest type which you might see in the intrauterine life? Yes, very good. So what is that? HbF. So the problem is what these HbF has a very high affinity to oxygen. Oxygen වලට ලොකු affinity එකක් තියෙනවා. So what is the problem? So when there is a high affinity to oxygen, it will not release easily to the tissues. Tissues වලට ගියාම easily release වෙන්නේ නැහැ. So it's a huge problem, right? So they will be so because of that they should have a large amount of hemoglobin, or the red cells, a large amount of red cells or the hemoglobin. Why? Because it has a high affinity to the oxygen, so it will not easily release to the peripheral tissues. So it should have a high amount of oxygen. So one reason is they will have a low concentration of the oxygen. The other reason is they will have a high amount of HbF, which has a high affinity to oxygen. Because of that, the kidney is not so happy, so they will produce more and more erythropoietin that will cause high amount of hemoglobin during the fetal life. So after birth, what will happen? ඉපදුනාට පස්සේ මොකද වෙන්නේ? What will happen? So then, so once the baby starts to breathe, so their saturation will improve suddenly, right? So initially during the intrauterine life, their oxygen saturation is roughly around 50%. But after birth, that will be around 95%. So there will be there will be a sudden increase in the saturation. That is one thing. The other thing is these HbF will switch to HbA2. So these HbA1. So HbA1 has a low affinity to oxygen, so it will easily release to the peripheral tissues. So after birth, the kidneys are very happy, so they will suppress the erythropoietin secretion itself. So what will happen? So once they suppress the erythropoietin secretion, so gradually the hemoglobin concentration will reduce, right? So that is the physiological anemia, right? So what will happen? So like around around 2 months, it will suddenly drop into the minimum cutoff of 9.5. Right, so the lower cutoff will be 9.5 milligrams per deciliter in a 2-month-old child. So that is a normal. It's very practical thing. Somehow blood hospital PP suddenly whatever sometimes they might within some routine investigation, some doctor has found the child is having very low HB, 9.5 or 10 HB. They refer to us. So or sometimes they start iron. Right, so antima necrotizing enterocolitis හැදලා නවතින්නේ. So you can't do that. So you should have a very clear idea. So if you see an infant like around 2 months, 3 months with an HB with a 9.5 or 10, so that is completely normal, right? So that is called the physiological anemia of infancy. So like if you see a 9.5 grams per deciliter in a 2-month-old child, it's perfectly normal. But if you see something like 15, again that is abnormal, right? So like that. So you should know the physiological anemia. That is something the low cutoff will be 9.5 grams per deciliter. But so once the hemoglobin reduces, So what will happen? So there will be an low hemoglobin and low oxygen concentration. So suddenly, again, like after 2 to 3 months time, so suddenly again kidney will start to produce erythropoietin. So then again, so it will gradually increase the hemoglobin amount. So initially, just after birth, there will be a drop in the hemoglobin. So up to 9.5. So initially it will be around 15, then it will be around 9.5. Then again it will raise up to 12, 11. මතක තියාගන්න ඉපදෙන්න කලින් 9.15 වලට වඩා cut off එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක drop වෙන්න පුළුවන් 2 months විතර යද්දි 9.5 වලට. Then what will happen? Then the erythropoietin starts to secrete kidneys will start to secrete erythropoietin again. So it will gradually rise to 11 by 6 months. මාස 6ක් විතර වෙද්දී 11 වලට වැඩි වෙනවා. So the important key point is during the infants, the fetal life, they will have the low cutoff. They will have a high hemoglobin concentration where the lowest cutoff will be 15. So during the early infancy, it will gradually drop, and the lowest cutoff will be 9.5. But around 6 months, it will be gradually increased up to 11. So by you should know by 6 months to 11 years, the range should be, the 6 months to 5 years, the lowest cutoff will be 11. අපි 11.5 12 කියලා ගත්තට අපි pediatrics වල ගන්නේ 6 months ඉඳලා 5 years යනකම් 11 කියලා. Right? So ඕක දැනගන්න ඕන. So you should know about the physiological anemia in the infancy, as well as what is the cutoff after 6 months. So that's why, so if a child comes to you after 6 months time, so after starting complementary feeding, if they had something like 10, then you may need to start iron treatment. But if you notice a hemoglobin amount 10 in a 2-month-old child, of course you can reassure the child, right? So you should know that fact very thoroughly. So that will help you to answer your MCQs, as well as it will help you to practice pediatrics during your internship as well as during your post internship as well, right? So and also there are a few points are there. So usually sometimes several things. So I said there are 3 important points are there. So the one is oxygen saturation, other one is hemoglobin switching of hemoglobin type, then the erythropoietin secretion. But keep in mind, these iron deficiency will not cause physiological anemia, because these physiological anemia, so the iron deficiency is it's not play a role in physiological anemia. It's basically plays a role in anemia of prematurity. කවුරු හරි එක්කෙනෙක් premature delivery වුණොත් what will happen? So they can have anemia. So it will contribute to anemia of prematurity. What is that? Anemia of prematurity කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? So if you deliver pretermly, so most of the time the maternal iron will transfer to the fetus mainly during the 3rd trimester, right? So that will affect. So iron transportation mainly occurs in 3rd trimester, right? So that will affect the anemia of prematurity, not the physiological anemia of infancy. And also maternal anemia also will not play a role in physiological anemia of infancy as well. So if we discuss the question, so this is basically, it's about these if you know these theory facts, then you can answer very well. So this is not typically physiology, right? I am not teaching physiology, or I am not teaching anything basic sciences. This is totally pediatric. This is a very common practical thing. You should know the applied things, right? So this is very common practical thing, right? So and you should know about these things, right? Factors contributing to physiological anemia of infancy include increased arterial oxygen saturation in the newborn compared to fetus. Is it true? Yes, that's obvious. So increased arterial saturation in the newborn compared to fetus. That's why that is one reason they develop physiological anemia. Fetal to adult hemoglobin switch. Yes, as I mentioned, yes, that is the next reason. So decrease erythropoietin production. Yes, after birth, I told you they will be, the minimum stimulation will be there. So they will be decreased production of erythropoietin. So that is also true. Iron deficiency anemia, as I mentioned, it will play a role in anemia of prematurity, not in the physiological anemia of infancy. Then the maternal anemia, again, that will not cause physiological anemia in infancy. So true, 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 false, false, right? So those are the answers. So you should have a clear idea. So Melanie, very good. So others also should be able to answer, right? Good. So question number 2. So these are of course very easy, right? Easy questions. So true or false regarding the side effects of the following drugs. It's very straightforward, very obvious, right? Sodium valproate, hepatic enzyme elevation, midazolam, respiratory suppression, phenytoin, cognitive dysfunction, phenobarbital, cardiac arrhythmias, carbamazepine, Stevens-Johnson syndrome. So send me answers quickly. Quickly send me answers. Let me quickly send me answers. Ah, good. So send me answers. Lamai, ayo. Come on, quickly. Only very few have sent the answers. Even sending private message is not a problem, right? If you are, yeah. So actually we have in this MCQ, of course, they have mentioned these common side effects, right? Not even the rare side effects, right? So these are very common side effects. This is very obvious. This is very obvious, right? So you all should be able to answer this question, right? So true or false regarding side effects of the following drugs. So tell me, sodium valproate. So sodium valproate, what is the main side effect? Mainly, why we are scared of giving sodium valproate, right? So that's why the diagnosis should be, epilepsy diagnosis should be made by a pediatrician, right? So if you made a wrong diagnosis, the problem is what? Sometimes the drug will be more harmful than the epilepsy itself, right? So the diagnosis should be made by a pediatrician, definitely, right? So they are a neurologist. So I mean, that's because these drugs are very toxic, right? So you don't give valproate, Pandol, amoxicillin, right? So keep in mind. So what's the problem of giving sodium valproate? It has what is the main side effect? It has a liver toxicity, right? Liver damage, and so they can have liver toxicity. That's why in your history taking also, you need to ask from the mother, where do you store? Right? So the ideal method එක මොකක්ද? Ideal එක නිකන් කම්බරේ ආලාච්චුවේ දාලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ කිව්වත් පැහැදිලි. History එක ගාද්දි so history එක හරියට කරලා නැත්නම් it comes to a problem list no. History එක මේව නැත්නම් right? So it's important. හරිනම් කොහොම store කරන්න ඕනේ? ඔයා store කරන්න ඕනේ අල්මාරි එක දාලා අල්මාරි දොර වහලා යතුරෙන් lock කරලා යතුර අරගෙන ළමයාට reach කරන්න බැරි තැනක තමයි store කරන්න ඕනේ. Right? හරිද? ඒක තමයි answer එක. එහෙම කලේ නැත්නම් ඒකේ ප්‍රශ්නයක්. මොකද හදිසියක් පැරදිලා හරි බිව්වොත් ළමයා ඉවර heaven, right? So එහෙනම් මට keep in your mind, so what is the most important side effect? Liver toxicity. That is very important. So I have taught many mnemonics as well. So I am not going to repeat it. But sodium valproate, of course, you may know the side effects. So what will happen? So they will have so these are hepatic inducing drugs, right? So liver hepatic inducing drug, so that will be an one side effects. It can cause new low platelet dysfunction, right? Thrombocytopenia enna puluwan. Then hair loss, hair curling, konde curl වෙනවා ළමයි, right? konde curl වෙනවා. So sometimes that may be irreversible and samara asa වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, but the problem is what? So at the same time they can have alopecia, right? So konde ගැලවෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, right? So that's the problem. So hair loss, then they can have weight gain. බර වැඩි වෙනවා and they can have neural tube defects. So that pregnant කාලේ ගත්තොත් first trimester එකේ ඊළඟ pregnancy එක neural tube defects වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So those are side effects, but the most important side effect is what? Liver toxicity, liver toxicity, liver toxicity, right? So again, midazolam. So midazolam is almost similar to diazepam. The effectiveness wise almost same, but the side effect profile comparatively little bit less, right? So with the side effect profile, the using midazolam will be more preferable, right? So because diazepam will be more drowsy and respiratory suppression will be more. So again, it's almost same. So it's a type of a benzodiazepam. So basically we use the midazolam and diazepam currently for acute during the as a first line drug of status epilepticus, right? So the problem is what is the problem? So these both these drugs can cause respiratory suppression, respiration suppress වෙන්න පුළුවන්. That is very common problem, right? So that's a very common problem. Have you මතක ඇතිනේ අර ගලහ සිද්ධිය, right? ගලහ එකේදී මොකද වෙන්නේ? Just like y'all, so you may also may need to work as an සමහර peripheral hospital එක තනි doctor විදිහට වැඩ කරන්න වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So that ඒකෙත් එහෙමයි. So there was a patient was there who presented with a status epilepsy. So these nursing staff couldn't take an IV access, so they have given the rectal diazepam. So the repeated dose, with the repeated dose, then suddenly there was a the child got a respiratory arrest, right? මතකයිද කේස් එක? ඊට පස්සේ මොකද උනේ? මේ ගමේ මිනිස්සු ඇදගෙන ගිහිල්ලා ලොරි එක දාගෙන ගියා. ගිහිල්ලා ඉවර වෙලා මොකද උනේ? ඊට පස්සේ ළමයා මගදී මැරෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඇවිල්ලා හොස්පිටල් එකට ගහලා හොස්පිටල් එකේ කුඩු කරලා ලොකු ප්‍රශ්න, right? So these are very practical things, very practical. So you should have a very clear idea, right? Make sure that your ambu bag is ready with when you are using those drugs, right? So these are very important, very important. So midazolam can cause respiratory suppression, of course. So comparatively it's compared to diazepam, it's a bit less, but again the midazolam also can cause respiratory suppression. So phenytoin. So phenytoin. So Anita made phenytoin. So tell me, phenytoin වල මොකක්ද problem එක? What is the problem of giving phenytoin? So have you heard? So phenytoin, are we giving as a long term drug now? අපි කාලයක් තිස්සේ දෙනවා, දිගු කාලීනව ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැකලා තියෙන පොඩි ළමයින්ට දිගට දෙනවා. No, most of the time we use it for acute status second line drug of status epilepsy, right? So you are giving diazepam repeated 2 times, then if child didn't respond, you go for phenobarbital or phenytoin, right? So phenytoin mainly used for acute episodes of status epilepsy as a second line drug. But the problem is, so if you give an bolus or a loading dose, what will happen? Loading dose එකක් දුන්නොත් phenytoin එකේ මොකද්ද වෙන්න පුළුවන්? They can develop cardiac arrhythmias. So that is the problem. So you make sure that you have attached to the cardiac monitor, right? So the cardiac monitor attached to the. So, but the problem, so why don't we give as a long-term drug? Look at but in children you may haven't seen, right? It's very uncommon. Commonly then unless a neonate kinetic then we switch off, right? You don't give for years, right? You don't continue for years. So why is there? What is the reason? So there are so many side effects are there. So because it is very toxic drug, there are so many side effects are there. But the most important side effect is what? Even in phenobarbital and phenytoin both. What is the most important side effect? Why we are not giving as a long-term drug? Phenobarbital අපි neonates ලා දෙනවා. හැබැයි ටික කාලයක් දීලා switch off කරනවා. මාසයක් එකමාරක් දීලා නවත්තන maximum. හැබැයි මේ සාමාන්‍ය epilepsy එකක් නම් අපි දෙන්නේ නැහැ. Phenobarbital, phenytoin. What is the problem? දෙකටම ওই ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙනවා. What is the problem if you give long-term? It will cause cognitive dysfunction. That is the main problem. Cognitive dysfunction. That is the main problem, right? But in addition to that, there are so many things out there. So they can cause megaloblastic anemia. It can cause some picture like rickets. So those things are also possible. And no, phenytoin වල මූණ කැත කරනවා ළමයි. ඔයගොල්ලෝ අර face app එක දැම්මට වෙනස් කරලා ඒ වගේ නෙමෙයි. ඒවා දැම්මට හරියන්නේ නැහැ. මූණ සම්පූර්ණයෙන් කැත වෙනවා, right? So they will have hirsutism. They will have gum hypertrophy. එහෙම තොල් ඉදිම එනවා, right? right? Hirsutism කියන්නේ ගෑන් ළමයින්ට දැන් ඕගොල්ලෝ පිරිමි ළමයින ගෑන් ළමයි වගේ රැවුල් නැත්තුව යන්නේ ගෑන් ළමයින්ට මොකද වෙන්නේ රැවුල් එනවා that is the hirsutism right so රැවුල් එන්න ගත්තාම මේ කැතයි right ඉතින් that is hirsutism gum hypertrophy ugly face එකක් එනවා so that's why we don't give phenytoin in children that is also one reason so in some books it says avoiding girls ළමයි girls ලා විතරද ළමයි avoid කරන්න ඕනේ කැත වෙන උන තවල no should avoid in children right so මේ පොත්වල සමහර වැරදි එහෙම කියන්න බෑ so should avoid in children right one thing is they will develop an ugly face the main problem is what it will cause cognitive dysfunction කියන එක නම් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් ළමයි so that is very important so phenobarbital phenytoin දෙකටම cognitive dysfunction එන්න පුළුවන් if you use it for a long term so මේකේ අහලා තියෙන මොකද්ද phenytoin cognitive dysfunction of course yes so phenobarbital cardiac arrhythmias again as I said the phenobarbital again currently we use it for neonatal seizures as well but we don't use it for a long period right we continue for maximum like 1.5 months right most of the time we will omit after 2 weeks time but like phenobarbital most of the time we use following and status epilepsy as a second line drugs diazepam then you go for either phenytoin or phenobarbital hope you all can remember but what is the problem of giving phenobarbital again api diazepam dila respiratory suppression වෙන්න පුළුවන් phenobarbital මොකද වෙන්නේ තවත් respiratory it can cause severe respiratory suppression මේකෙන් එකපාර බුස් ගාලා respiratory arrest වෙන්න පුළුවන් that is a huge problem so phenytoin acute loading dose එකක් දුන්නොත් cardiac arrhythmias phenobarbital acute loading dose එකක් දුන්නොත් respiratory suppression so phenobarbital cardiac arrhythmias කියන answer එක false it should be respiratory suppression again good carbamazepine Stevens-Johnson syndrome carbamazepine very this is the most favorite side effect in carbamazepine right this is very obvious හැමෝම answer කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ that is very obvious so they will have of course they can have Stevens-Johnson syndrome in addition to that hope you all can remember the mnemonic so visual defects drug interactions right leukopenia and Stevens-Johnson syndrome so tell me මං කියනවා ළමයි carbamazepine ගන්නදිත් මේවල cardiac drugs ගන්නකොට මේ carbamazepine සමහරට ඒ drug එක metabolize කරන එක induce කරන්න පුළුවන් carbamazepine ගත්තාම හොඳකුත් තියෙනවා නරකකුත් තියෙනවා ගෑනු ළමයින්ට නම් ටිකක් නරක වෙන්න පුළුවන් පිරිමි ළමයින්ට සමහර වෙලට හොඳ වෙන්න පුළුවන් so what is the disadvantage of taking carbamazepine ඔගොල්ලෝ carbamazepine use කරොත් දැන් හිතන්න fit epilepsy අර මොකක් හරි තියෙන carbamazepine ගත්තා carbamazepine සමහර වෙලාව දෙනවා ළමයි neurogenic pains වලට දෙනවා bipolar disorders වලට දෙනවා ඔය කාට හරි mania වගේ ආවිලා ඔන්න අපි start කරන carbamazepine ගෑනු ළමයිට start කරන්න උනන so what is the problem එක come on send me an answer මං කිව්වා drugs ඕන එක metabolization වැඩි කරනවා මොකද්ද problem එක ළමයි if you are taking OCP you can get very good you can get pregnant හරිද OCP බොනවා අඩේම pregnant වෙලා එනවා that's the problem right ගෑනු ළමෙන්න පිරිමි ළමෙක් what is the problem what is the advantage what is the good thing කොච්චර බිව්වත් tap වෙන්නේ නැහැ very වෙන්නේ නැහැ so that is a good thing right බොනවා very වෙන්නේ නැහැ එන එක metabolize වෙනවා right so that is the good right good so that's about the carbamazepine so we'll discuss few more things right so we told about the sodium valproate carbamazepine phenytoin phenobarbital diazepam and midazolam okay tell me just so we will not ask so much just have a rough idea so what is the main side effect of lamotrigine so sometimes they might ask in your MCQs lamotrigine වල මොකද්ද ඉතින් අහන්න පුළුවන් very good Diva so they can have very characteristic life threatening rash so that is the problem so tell me vigabatrin the addiction is not the expected dance. We go back to what is the problem? Very good, Sujika. They can have visual defects, right? So visual field defects එන්න පුළුවන්. දෙපැත්ත පේන්න නැහැ දෙපැත්ත ඒ වගේ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Visual field defects. So what is the just they will not ask. Just I am telling. What is the problem of topiramate? Topiramate use කරොත් මොකද්ද problem එක වෙන්න පුළුවන්? So there are so many side effects are there, but the api expect කරන එක ප්‍රධාන එකක් තියෙනවා. So sometimes you might ask in your MCQs, that's why. Very good, Fonseca. Glaucoma is one thing. Very good. Very good. But more than that, the renal dysfunction, right? Renal impairment is the more important one, right? The glaucoma also correct. You are correct, but the renal impairment is the more important one, right? So, so that's about this. What is this? Anti-epileptic drugs. Good, right? So 5-year-old child who had following spirometry value: FEV1 3.5, FEC 4. What are the possibilities? So this is more you may have discussed in your, this topic may have discussed in your medicine as well. I'm not going to discuss in detail, but send me your answers. 5-year-old child had spirometry value of following values: FEV1 3.5, FEC 4. What are the possibilities? Cystic fibrosis, fibrosing alveolitis, bronchial asthma, Guillain-Barré, and the bronchiectasis. Come on, Lama, send me answers. Very easy one. Medicine වලත් ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙනවානේ. This is more important in medicine. So make up so you may have done respiratory system now. Send me your answers. Yeah, at least private message එකක් යවන්න. දෙන්න තුන් දෙනා ඊවල තියෙන්නේ. තව එවන්න. good. ඔකට උත්තරේ දන්නේ නැත්te theory concept එක හරියට දන්නේ නැති හින්දාද නැත්නම් ගණන් බැරි හින්දාද? What is the reason? Right? I know you don't have the maths gene, right? ඒකනේ ඔය කටින් bio කරේ. Right? නැත්නම් maths කරනවානේ. උනාට හැමෝටම කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? මම maths කරා නම් මේ engineering faculty එකේ මෙහෙමයි class අරගෙන මෙහෙමයි කියලා. The truth is you don't have, I also don't have the maths gene, right? So ඒකනේ අපි bio කරන්නේ. You have to accept that, right? හරි. So good. Both, yes. Good. So this is what Lamai. This is what Lamai. This is the bronchial tree. This is the alveoli, right? Alveoli. So here there is the capillaries, the pulmonary vessels. So this is the interstitium. This is the pulmonary vessels. So there is the pleural space. Here the diaphragm. Here the intercostal nerves, right? So bronchial tree එක තියෙනවා. These are the alveoli, pulmonary vessels. So here the interstitium, pleural space, the intercostal nerves, and the diaphragm, right? So basically, so when we are discussing about lung function test, lung function එක කතා කරද්දී, there are two main important things are there. One thing is you need to assess the ventilatory functions. Other thing is you need to assess the gas exchange. So ventilatory function means what? So ventilation කියන්නේ මොකද? මේ oxygen යන්නේ එන එක. So හරියට ventilation එක ලැබෙන එක. So when we are discussing ventilation, to assess the ventilation, there are two main equipments are there, tests are there. What are those? One thing is peak expiratory flow meter, other one is spirometry. Right. So when we are discussing about the gas exchange, gas කොහොම exchange වෙලා හොඳට oxygenation, blood circulation එකේ oxygenation assist කරන්න ඕන. So what are the two tests? You can do pulse oximeter as well as you can do ABG. කොච්චරක් oxygenation වුණාද කියලා. So sometimes there's something called diffusion capacity කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. We don't ask much in your MCQs, right? But can ask. So those are the two important things. So when we are discussing about the spirometry, so I'm not going to explain in detail. So you may have heard about these, you may have seen these graphs, no? So මෙහෙම graph එකක් දැකලා තියෙන ළමයි මේක අර A level පොතේ bio පාඩමේ තියෙනවා, physiology වලත් තියෙනවා. This is very obvious. So this is සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපේ lung volume එක around 6 liters වගේ වෙනවා. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි breathe කරද්දී මෙහෙම inspiration expiration තියෙනවා. This is called the tidal volume නේද? Tidal volume. I'm not going into detail, right? I can explain, but I'm not going into detail. So when you take a deep inspiration and expiration, ගැඹුරු ආශ්වාසයක් කරන් ප්‍රාශ්වාසයක් ගන්නවා. So deep inspiration and expiration. So main volume එකට අපි මොකක්ද කියන්නේ ළමයි? What is this volume? මේකට මොකක්ද කියන්නේ? ගැඹුරු ආශ්වාසයක් කරන් ප්‍රාශ්වාසයක් ගද්දි, right? හොඳ හුස්මක් කරන් පිට කරද්දි. ඒ volume එකට අපි මොකක්ද කියන්නේ? We call it as vital capacity නේද? We call it as vital capacity. Vital capacity. So මේ ඉතුරු වෙන එකට මොකක්ද කියන්නේ? Just I'm telling, this is called the residual volume. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් හුස්මක් ගැඹුරු හුස්මක් කරන් පිට කළාට පස්සේ lung එකේ චූටි ප්‍රමාණයක් ඉතුරු වෙනවා. එයා. ඒකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ residual volume. I'm not going into detail, right? That's more than enough. So when you are, so I'm not going to explain about peak expiratory flow rate, where I explained previously in detail. So discussing spirometry also mainly should be discussed in medicine, but I will just tell you. So when you are discussing about spirometry, so there are so many things are there which you can assess. So one of the main thing is spirometry tracing, where there is something called there are two important markers are there. One is FEC, other one is FEV1, right? You should have an idea about FEC and FEV1. So what is FEV? What is FEC? What is FEC? FEC is what? Force vital capacity. So what is the force vital capacity? So that is the largest amount of air that can expire after an maximum inspiratory effort, right? So largest amount of air which can expel after an maximum inspiratory effort. හොඳ හුස්මක් කරන් පිට කරද්දී යන volume එක, right? That is the force vital capacity. හොඳ හුස්මක් කරගෙන පිට කරද්දී යන volume එක. So other one is force vital capacity at the first second, right? So that is ඒ මොකද high and blow කරද්දී within first second කොච්චර amount එකක් ගියාද කියලා volume එක, right? So you are supposed to forcefully expel, right? There, then you can assess කොච්චර amount එකක් ගියාද within first seconds. That is the force expiratory vital capacity at first second, right? During force expiration. So that is the FEV1. So what is the so we mentioned about FEC. Other thing is FEV1. Usually FEC is mainly important to assess what? මොකද්ද මේක important? මොනවා assess කරන්නද? So it will indicate about the strength of the alveoli as well as the strength of the muscles, the compliance of the alveoli and the strength of the respiratory muscles. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? මොන හරි මෙතන මේ මොකද්ද මේක හොඳ හුස්මක් ගන්න මොකද්ද? ගාලා breath එකක් ගන්න නම් මොකද්ද මේක හොඳට ඇදෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේ මොකද්ද respiratory muscles හොඳට strong වෙලා ඇදෙන්න ඕනේ, right? So force vital capacity is a very good indicator of to assess the compliance of the alveoli as well as the respiratory muscle. හොඳ හුස්මක් ගත්තාම මේ වෙනවා, right? So FEC එක අඩුයි කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? ඒ කියන්නේ එක්ක alveoli එකේ intraparenchymal alveoli එකේ problem එකක් නැත්නම් මෙතන එළියේ තියෙන muscles වල respiratory muscles වල problem එකක්. Right. So FEV1. So FEV1 is a very good measure to assess the airflow limitation. මේ යන වේගයෙන් පිම්බිද්දී මේ යන වේගය decide. මොකද first second තප්පරයක් ඇතුළේ කොච්චර එයා යනවද? So it's very good measurement to assess the airflow limitation. So if there's any obstruction to the pathway, airway pathway, right? If there's any obstruction, what will happen? The FEV1 will be reduced. So basically, FEV1 is mainly important in assessing the airway obstruction, and FEC is mainly important to assess the alveolar function as well as the these respiratory muscle function. Harida, good. Now, so there's an so when we are discussing about FEC and FEV1, so there's an excellent measurement is there where you will assess more accurate one, right? මේ දෙකේ හොඳට අපි ratio එකක් ගත්තොත් අපි දැකලා තියෙනවා there will be a very good accurate formula or the excellent measurement is there. What is that? FEV1 divided by FEC. මේක අපි divide කරලා එන value එක හරිම important. FEV1 divided by I hope you all can see, right? FEV1 divided by FEC. Right? So what is the normal range? Samannya make expect karna range කොච්චරද? Between 70 to 75%. 70 to 75. Right? කවුරු හරි එක්කෙනෙක්ගේ FEV මේ කවුරු හරි එක්කෙනෙක්ගේ 75 වලට වඩා වැඩි වුණොත් මොකද ඉන්ඩිකේට් වෙන්නේ? 75 වලට වඩා වැඩි වෙන්නේ කොහොමද? 75 වලට වඩා වැඩි වෙන්නේ කොහොමද? මේ FEC එක අඩු වුණොත් නේ ළමයි 75 වලට වඩා වැඩි වෙන්නේ, right? ඒ කියන්නේ අපි restrictive lung disease එකක් තිබුණා නේ. So එහෙම වුණොත් it indicates restrictive lung disease. මේක 70 වලට if it මේක 70 වලට වඩා අඩු වුණොත් it will indicate obstructive lung disease. So again, FEV1 to FEC ratio is a very good measurement. So the normal range is 70 to 75%. කවුරු හරි එක්කෙනෙක්ගේ හිතන්න there is an obstructive lesion is there. කවුරු හරි ආවේ obstruction එකක් තියෙනවා. For example, asthma, bronchiectasis, bronchiolitis, right? Whatever the COPD or bronchial tract obstruction is there. Obstruction එකක් තිබ්බම මොකද වෙන්නේ? FEV1 කියන එක අඩු වෙනවද? Yes, it will be significantly low. අයි පාත් එක හයියෙන් පිම්බට යන්න වැඩේ. Then airway tract obstruction, of course, the FEV1 will be significantly low. FEV1 will be significantly low, right? It will be significantly low. What will happen to the FEC? FEC will be normal or slightly low වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So usually එකට ලොකු effect එකක් නැහැ, but can be slightly low because they can have airway trapping. ඇයි ඒ මොකද්ද? අපි මේ හැම breath එකකදීම අපි inspiration එකේදී negative pressure එකක් තියෙන්නේ. expiration එකේදී positive pressure එකක් තියෙනවා. මේ ආයන ටික පිට කරන්න කලින් මොකද මේ positive pressure එකෙන් මේ bronchial small bronchioles ටික compress වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So they can have an airway trapping, right? So that's why they can have increased residual volume, accumulation of air. So they can have increased residual volume and the total lung volume. ඒ හින්දා තමයි සමහර barrel chest එන්නේ COPD asthma තියෙන අයට. They will be an airway trapping. ඉතින් හැම breath එකම චුට්ට residual volume එක වැඩි වෙනවා. චුට්ට ඉතුරු වෙනවා. ඒ හින්දා මොකද FEC එක චුට්ටක් අඩු වෙනවා. හැබැයි mainly අඩු වෙන්නේ මොකද FEV1. So the usually obstructive lesion FEV1 divided by FEC will be significantly low because FEV1 will be significantly low. So it will be less than 70%. So when there is a restrictive airway problem, so restrictive type pathology එකක් තියෙනවා. So restrictive type කියන ඇදෙන්න බෑ, right? So function is not alveoli restrictive type pathology. So restrictive pattern එකේදී the problem is mainly either in the alveoli or either in the respiratory muscles. So when there is an alveoli, we call it as intraparenchymal. When there is an in the respiratory muscles, we call it as extraparenchymal. But the evaluation will be almost same. So what will happen? මේගොල්ලන්ගේ මොකද respiratory muscles හොඳටම weak. හොඳ deep breath එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්ද ළමයි respiratory muscles weak න? No. Their FEC will be significantly low, but their FEV1 will be normal. So එයාට පිට කරද්දි මෙතන block එකක් නැහැ. So එයා ටික නිකම්ම expel වෙනවා. නමුත් හොඳ ගාල ගැඹුරු හුස්මක් ගන්න පුළුවන්ද? No. Their respiratory muscles will be poor. Here also if there's an interstitial lung disease එකක් වගේ තියෙනවා නම් මේව හොඳට ඇදෙන්නේ නැහැ. So what will happen? So again the FVC will be significantly low. So if the FVC is significantly low, what will happen to the ratio? Ratio will be high. So it will be more than 75%. So if you get an case scenario with an about this, and if you see the V1 to FVC ratio more than 75%, it will indicate restrictive lung disease. So if it is less than 70%, it will indicate obstructive lung disease. So for obstructive lung disease, the causes are very obvious. You know, asthma, emphysema, chronic bronchitis, right? Bronchiectasis, cystic fibrosis, bronchiolitis, anything is possible. So here, restrictive lung disease. So intraparenchymal one, interstitial lung disease, sarcoidosis, right? Pneumoconiosis, everything is possible. Then extraparenchymal, Guillain-Barré, diaphragmatic paralysis, myasthenia gravis, right? Muscular dystrophies, kyphoscoliosis, again, anything is possible. So here we'll go to the question. Hope you had an idea about that. So here they have mentioned 5-year-old child had following spirometry value. FEV1 to FEV1 is 3.5, FVC is 4. Right? So what are the possibilities? So you need to divide it. So FEV1 to FVC එක බෙදලා එක 100න් වැඩි කරන්න ඕනේ නේද? Very simple. If you okay ගැන rough ගණන් චුට්ටක් හරි පුළුවන් නම් it's possible, right? So 3.5 divided by 4 into multiplied by 100, it's 87.5, right? 87.5. That means it's an restrictive pathology. Restrictive pathology. So what are the possibilities? Cystic fibrosis, that is obstructive one, false. Fibrosing alveolitis, that is true. That is a restrictive intraparenchymal restrictive lung disease. Bronchial asthma, again it's obstructive pathology, false. Guillain-Barré, again there is a extraparenchymal restrictive type, so that is true. Bronchiectasis again obstructive, that is false. So A false, B true, C false, D true, E false. Right? So those are the answers. This is very easy, obvious. Should have a clear idea, right? Good. Right. So the MCQ question 4. True or false regarding laryngotracheal bronchitis? So the barking cough, hoarseness of voice, stridor, drooling of saliva, and high fever, very high fever. Send me answers quickly. This is very easy. හැමෝම උත්තරේ වන්න ඕනේ ඔකට නම්. Good. This is very obvious, but okay, right. So I'm not going to explain in detail because this is very common topic and you have studied enough, right? Right. So this is about the stridor, right? So you know stridor is something. Stridor is when there is an obstruction to the upper airway. That means if there's an obstruction between the larynx to bifurcation of the trachea. That means the upper airway obstruction, right? So basically, so usually the lower airway obstructions are expiratory sounds. For wheezing and bronchi, those are expiratory sounds. These stridors, these are upper airway tract obstruction, these are inspiratory sounds. So when we are discussing about stridors, there are congenital causes are there and acquired causes are there. So congenital causes are chronic ones, acquired causes are mainly acute ones. So these are acquired causes are there are so many causes are there. I hope you all can remember the mnemonic, right? So A, B, C, D, E, F, L, R, T. But out of those conditions, the most important ones are the croup, epiglottitis, foreign body aspiration, and the bacterial tracheitis. So those things are the most important one in your undergraduate level. But here, out of all out of these four also, this croup and the epiglottitis is the most important two conditions. මේ දෙක තමයි වැඩිම important because because it's very important, right? So one reason is croup is so common. මේක සද්දේ මාර සද්දේ ගෝගාන් එද්දි අම්මලා බය වෙලා hospital එකට නිතර උස්සන් එනවා, right? This is very common, so you should be able to manage, and you should be able to manage, identify, as well as you should be able to manage. The epiglottitis is another important thing because it's a life-threatening emergency. If you don't know how to manage, then you will send the child to the heaven, right? So to avoid that, you should have a clear idea, right? So when we are discussing about these stridor as well as epiglottitis, the important thing is, so you should be able to differentiate each condition, right? So basically, so tell me, what is the other name for croup? Croup වලට මොකක්ද කියන අනිත් නම? Acute laryngotracheobronchitis. So inflammation in the larynx, trachea, and the bronchus, but the upper part narrowing inflammation will be more. So glottis and subglottic area will be more inflamed, right? So if you take an X-ray, you will notice a steeple sign. මෙහෙම මුදුන අර සිරිකොත නෙමෙයි. නේ අර පන්සලේ පල්ලිවල church වල තියෙන steeple chapel එකේ අන්න මෙහෙම තියෙන්නේ. So that ඒ වගේ දකින්නේ ඒකයි. So inflammation of larynx, trachea, bronchi, but the inflammation will be more in the upper part where the epiglottis and subglottis region, subglottis is present, right? So you should be able to differentiate croup and the epiglottitis. So tell me, what is the etiology? So what is the commonest age group? So tell me, what is the etiology? මොකක්ද etiology එක ළමයි croup වෙන what is the etiology? It is almost always viral, right? Viral තමයි එන්නේ, except rarely mycoplasma. So almost always viral. So out of those viruses also, what is the commonest virus? You should know, they might ask in MCQs, para-influenza virus. So epiglottitis, what is the etiology? මොකද etiology එක ළමයි epiglottitis වල bacterial, right? අරක viral, මේක bacterial. Give me a second. Bacterial, right? Bacterial. So out of that also, what is the commonest one? In your undergraduate level, you should know, because nowadays a bit less common because after the immunization program, but still we consider it as Haemophilus influenza. So age of onset. So age of onset is what? So virus නම් මොකද චූටියට තමයි වැඩිපුර හැදෙන්නේ. So the age of onset will be 6 months to 3 years, where the peak incidence is between 1 year to 2 years. Here the age of onset will be 2 years to 6 years of age. Good. Now, so what are the clinical features? So මේගොල්ලන්ගේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ ළමයි? So මේගොල්ලන්ගේ croup අයගේ මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ? is viral. So they will have what? So they will have coryzal symptoms for 3 days with low grade fever. උනක් එක coryzal symptoms තියෙනවා. නිකන් හෙම්බිරිස ගතිය, nasal congestion එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. So after 3 days, they will develop the classical features. So there are 3 classical features are there. What are those? So they will have barking cough, they will have hoarseness, and they will have very prominent stride. Right? Very prominent stride, high pitched, loud stride will be there. Right? But their narrowing is not so significant. So they don't have much respiratory distress. But epiglottitis is something different, where it's the bacterial etiology. They will not have these coryzal symptoms. They will have sudden onset severe narrowing. So because of that, they will have bacteria hinda, they will have high fever, toxic, ill-looking, irritable child. And since it is an severe inflammation, they will be in severe stenosis. So they can't breathe, right? So they will have a characteristic position. එකක් තියෙනවා මෙහෙම ගාගෙන ඉන්නේ. So that is called what? The tripod sign. පුටුවේ ඉඳන් ඉන්නවා bend වෙලා tripod sign කියන්නේ ඒක. So to maintain the maximum. මෙහෙම එයා ඒක maximum මේ නිකන් පොල්ලක් බස්සලා වගේ ඉන්නේ, right? So they will in a sitting position, leaning forward with the extended neck and tongue out and drooling saliva because they can't swallow, right? So they will have tongue out and drooling saliva. So that is the characteristic position. But what will happen? Their stride will be what? The stride will be, is it so prominent? No, because of the severe narrowing, the stride AI unlimited. So that stride will be very pale, right? So basically, corizal symptoms here plus, here absent. Fever, here low grade, here high, very high fever. So here mainly symptoms will be barking cough. So stride. Stride එක මොකද වෙන්නේ? Here croup එකේ very prominent. Here pale stride. So associated symptoms, here they will have barking cough and බල්ලෙක් වගේ බල්ලෙක් වගේ බුරනවා නෙමෙයි ළමයි බල්ලෙක් වගේ කහිනවා. Barking cough and hoarseness. Here what will happen? They will have severe respiratory distress. Lazy. Right? So age එක කිව්වා corizal symptoms group එකේ තියෙනවා epiglottitis නෑ. Fever, low grade, very high grade. Stride එක loud high pitch stride එකක්. Here the pale stride. මේගොල්ලන්ගේ associated in barking cough and hoarseness මේගොල්ලන්ගේ තියෙන මොකද? Severe respiratory distress. So මෙහෙම patient කෙනෙක් આવස් මොකද කරන්නේ? Use these basically in both conditions the diagnosis is clinical, but if you just take an x-ray here you will notice an steeple sign. මොකද church එකේ මුදුනේ වගේ තියෙනවා. trachea මේ larynx bronchi ඔක්කොම narrow මේ අප එයාව එක obstruct වෙලා හැබැයි upper part එක තමයි හොඳටම narrow. So ඒ හින්දා ඔයා දකින්න මොකද church එක අර මුදුන කත වගේ පන්සලේ අර උඩ තියෙන්නේ ඒ වගේ. So that's called the steeple sign. In epiglottitis it's a bit different. So they will epiglottis will be so inflamed. So මොකක්ද දකින්නේ? එතකොට thumb එකක් තියන් ඉන්නවා වගේ මෙතන. So if you take a lateral x-ray you will notice something called thumb sign. මෙහෙම thumb එක තියන් ඉන්නවා වගේ epiglottis එකේ inflame වෙලා හින්දා දකින්න. So basically the management group එකේ නම් මොකක්ද management එක? Basically you give steroids either dexamethasone or nebulized budesonide. So here the epiglottitis you need to manage the airway first, then you need to give antibiotics. Right? So that's all. So you should be able to differentiate both these conditions. So if you know how to differentiate, then you can easily answer for these questions, right? Good. So give me a second. Right. So what are the questions? Laryngotracheal bronchitis. That's about the croup, right? So barking cough, of course. Hoarseness of voice, of course, true. Stridor, of course, true. Drooling of saliva, that is more characteristic in where? Epiglottitis. High fever, that is more important in epiglottitis, right? So true, 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 false, false, right? Good. Very good. So question number 5. True or false regarding childhood malignancies? Acute leukemia is the commonest malignancy in Down syndrome children. Brain tumors are often malignant. Neuroblastoma commonly metastasis to lungs. Retinoblastoma can be bilateral. Alpha fetoprotein levels are increased in hepatoblastoma. So we have discussed several times about childhood malignancies during the previous course. So we discuss in detail. Send me answers, right? In detail thoroughly, but so I'm not going to explain everything, right? Because it will take a lot of time. So it's a very mixed question. No? So I will just mention the answers, but send me answers quickly. So hope you all can remember and you පාඩම් කර ඉගන්නපු ඒවා ඔළුවේ තියෙනවද කියලා බලන්න තමයි mainly මේවා ගොඩක් questions දීලා තියෙන්නේ, right? Good, good. So send me answers. ඊ දෙනා දෙන්න නෙවල තියෙන්නේ. තුන් දෙනයි. Good, right. So again, this is very this is not difficult, right? So acute leukemia is the commonest malignancy in Down syndrome children. Oh, lama, it's very obvious. Yes, downside commonly mokadda. Yes, of course, that is acute leukemia. So AML and ALL both are very common. So the ALL incidence are also high, but the AML incidence will be significantly, it will be increased, right? Normal child කෙනෙක් වගේ 400 times risk එක වැඩි, right? So it's very common, right? Normally children ලගේ AML common and have downs ළමයිගේ AML කියන එක very common, right? So that is very important. So like yeah, that is true. Brain tumors are often malignant. So in children, of course, you know that more commonest brain tumors are, these are primary tumors. Out of that also, the commonest is astrocytoma. So astrocytoma, of course, there is a huge range is there, but in children, most of the time, so these astrocytomas are poorly differentiated. So these are not malignant, these are considered as benign, right, in children. So brain tumors are often malignant, that is false, right? Neuroblastoma commonly metastasis to lungs. Lamai, neuroblastoma is what? Hope you, I'm not going to explain, right? There are so many facts are there. So neuroblastoma is an tumor in the adrenal gland, right? So it can spread locally and it can spread through the sympathetic trunk, right? Sympathetic trunk, it can goes to the spinal cord. That is in one possibility. Other thing is it can infiltrate, it can penetrate the lymphatics and it can disseminate and it can penetrate the blood vessels and again it can disseminate, right? If it goes to lymphatics, it will go to the lymph nodes, mainly to the cervical lymph nodes. But if it penetrates the blood vessels, it might go to the other organs. But in general, you know, the most of the time, the metastases occur in lung, liver, bone, and brain. But in neuroblastoma, so the lung involvement and brain involvement comparatively very less. So it mainly is the metastasis to liver and the bones, right? Liver and bones. Hope you all can remember. Lung එකටයි brain එකටයි metastasis වෙනවා අඩුයි. Liver එකටයි bone එකටයි තමයි commonly වෙන්නේ. ඔයිට කිට්ටුම ඔය එකම සමාන parallel යන malignancy එකක් තියෙනවා. Where the metastasis mainly occur in to the lungs. So you will notice cannonball appearance very characteristically. ලස්සන්ට දකින්න ඒ අයගේ ගොඩක් වෙලේට. What is that condition? Send me an answer. මතකයි නම් පාඩම් කරලා නම්. Huh? Come on, guys. Very good, Melanie. More actually, very good. Very good. But is that okay? Malli, අනිත් පැත්තේ කිට්ටුම තියෙන මොකක්ද? kidney එකේ tumor එක nephroblastoma or the Wilms tumor. It commonly metastasis to lungs. Lung එකේ තමයි commonly එක යන්නේ. ඒක ගිහින් ලස්සන ගොඩක් අය මේ තියෙන cannonball appearance. Right? So I had මම ඕක ගොඩක් උගන්නලා තියෙනවා මම WhatsApp එකේ මේ වලදී questions දාද්දිත් ගොඩක් ලේ දාලා තියෙන පින්තූරත් එක්ක ඒ දවස්වල කාලයකට කලින් ඉල්ල, right? Hope you all can remember. So this is very important. So commonly, so neuroblastoma commonly metastasis is lung, that is false. But if they have mentioned nephroblastoma, then true, right? Here it's false. So retinoblastoma can be bilateral. Retinoblastoma can be bilateral. True or false? True, right? So most of the time, these bilateral tumors, most of the time, they will associate with an positive family history as well. Retinoblastoma can as the maker. So tumor maker. So they will have absent red reflex, right? So retinoblastoma again bilateral වෙන තව ಜಾති දෙකක් තියෙනවා. retinoblastoma අනිත් එක මොකද්ද? Again nephroblastoma and the neuroblastoma. Again it can be bilateral, right? Good. So alpha fetoprotein levels are increasing hepatoblastoma. Liver එකේ එන common malignancy එක primary tumor එක in children. So that is very obvious. So this is in fact. So that's why in your adult medicine වලත් ඉගෙන ගන්නවා ළමයි cirrhosis තියෙන අයගෙත් අපි ultrasound scan වේ alpha fetoprotein වේ monitor කරනවා as a screen නේද? ඔයගොල්ලෝ adult medicine ඉගෙනගෙන යතිනේ because they have a higher risk of if they develop malignancy. So they will be alpha fetoprotein level will be high. So here also same theory, right? Alpha fetoprotein levels are increasing Hepatoblastoma, that is very obvious. So true. So A, true. B, false. C, false. D, true. E, true. Right? So those are the answers. Clear? Right, good. Ramai. So those are the SBA, MCQs. So before we go to the SBS, there are few important facts are there. So I put a notice like a few days back, and I asked to vote whether you want online or live classes, right? So on July onwards. So okay, thank you. And vote කරන්න බැරි වුණානේ sir. එහෙම it's very important, right? ඔයගොල්ලෝ කියන එක අනුවනේ මේවා කරන්නේ. Most of the close students actually requested to conduct live classes, right? So, but some students actually asked me to conduct online classes, especially who are stay far away from Colombo, right? So, Candy or Betty, Evelyn, I mean, I thought overall that in overall 60% online කරන්නයි කිව්වේ, right? So 40% තමයි live කරන්න කිව්වේ. So 60% නම් online කරන්න කිව්වේ. දැන් මේකයි ළමයි දැන් අපිට personal easy මොකද්ද for me මට. So I also have hospital work, right? So for me also the easier way is to conduct online, right? So I can conduct even so මට අටට උනත් පටන් ගන්න බෑ. When I'm at hospital also I can conduct, no, so I can go to the room and I can conduct when I'm on call. So it will be easy for me as well, right? So most of the students said that they are adults and they can concentrate, so no issues, right? But the thing is, so two things are there. You know that when the live classes are more live, right? So I was conducting 8-hour classes, right? So I was doing once a week 8-hour classes, but I was so sure that all the students were concentrating. හැම ළමයි එක ළමයෙක්වත් නිදා ගන්න නැහැ නේ 8-hour classes කරා කියලා, right? මට ඒක sure. හැබැයි online එකේදී ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඒ වගේම එහෙමනම් concentrate කරන්න වෙනවා. That's the one most important thing. දෙවෙනි එක තමයි ළමයි online ඒක. එතකොට අනිත් එක තමයි ළමයි මොකද්ද මේක ටිකක් අර අපි jokes දානේවද මේවා එනවා live in communication interaction එක අඩුයි. එහෙමනම් මොකද්ද ළමයි problem එක? ඔව් එතකොට එකක් ඔයගොල්ලෝ නිදා ගන්න පුළුවන් අනිත් එක ළමයි ඔයගොල්ලන් සමහර වෙලට ඔයගොල්ලෝ තොලුව පිට යනවා එක එක වටේ පිට බලන්නත් පුළුවන් මේව. එතකොට ළමයි මේක හරියට නිකන් අර ලයිව් ක්ලාස් එක නිකන් බාති සන්තුෂ්ලාගේ ෂෝ එකක් අහනවා වගේ මේක නිකන් අර වික්ටර් රත්නායකගේ ෂෝ එකක් අහනවා නිකන් කවුරු හොඳයි නරකයි කියනවා නෙමෙයි. So it's different, no, right? ඒ වගේ. So ඒ හින්දා මේ හැබැයි ඉතින් 60% කිව්වේ online කරන්න කියලා. So but we can't continue online, right? දිගටම online කරනවා කියලා promise වෙන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි so මේ කාලේ we discussed with several teachers as well. So with other teachers as well. So I thought of continuing online for some time, right? So July second week, maybe first week or second week onwards, we might start. So then quickly I'm finishing the whole syllabus, right? For the theory students. Theory students lage පට ගාලා theory syllabus එක ඉවර කරනවා. ඒක ඉවර කරන්නේ online එකකින්. Online එකේ මේවා කරද්දී මතක තියාගන්න පළවෙනියෙන් නියෝනෙට්ලොජි එකේ අපිට කෙලින්ම මේක තියෙන නියෝනෙට්ලොජි එක ෆිනිෂ් කරනවා. නියෝනෙට්ලොජි එක ෆිනිෂ් කරපුවාම මම බලනවා ඕගොල්ලෝ කොච්චර සක්සස්ද කියලා. If you can't answer the MCQs, if I feel that you are not concentrating, next module onwards you may need to come to this SIPNA, right? So live classes එන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් මොකද්ද? If it is successful, I might continue, right? So module wise බලන්නේ ඒක success නැත්නම් එන්න වෙනවා, right? So if I am continuing, I am changing the whole setup, right? So මේ විදිහට board එකේවත් මේ විදිහට මේවා කරන්නේ completely advanced system එකකට move වෙන්න එපා. So ඒක official වෙනවානේ, right? So එතකොට advanced system එකට move වෙනවා. මීට වඩා more interactive live වෙන්න ඕනේ ඔයගොල්ලොත් එක්ක මේක කරන එක. ඒ වගේම so එහෙනම් neonatology මුලින්ම July first week or second week ඉඳලා start කරපුවා neonatology start කරනවා. ඒ module එක ඉවරයි නම් ඒක බලනවා ඊට පස්සේ කොහොමද ළමයි ඕකේ නම් then අපි finish කරනවා then the skin and locomotor development immunization this මේවා ටික ඉවර කරනවා, right? එතකොට මුළු syllabus එකම ඉවරයි. හැබැයි ඊට පස්සේ මොකද්ද? so theory class ආපු අයට theory නෙමෙයි කලින් revision පරණ අය ළමයින්ට totally free, right? so කලින් regularly ආපු අය ඒගොල්ලෝ මීට කලින් cover කරලා තියෙනවා නම් ඒගොල්ලන්ට free. ඒ වගේම කවුරු හරි එක්කෙනෙක් මේකට අලුතෙන් එනවා නම් ඊට පස්සේ foreign student කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් ආවොත් ඊළඟට repeat වෙනවා නම් again free, that's very obvious. එතකොට ළමයි ඕගලන්ට ඇවිල්ලා මේක ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි අනිත් ඒ කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක් හිතන මට සමහර modules වෙන තැනකින් මේ වුණා හරි මොකක් හරි මිස් වුණොත්, so again බය වෙන්න එපා. separately ඕගලන්ට මේවා separately free කියලා දෙනවා. ඒ වගේම so එහෙම අලුතෙන් එනවනම් you need to contact me, right, personally, then I will help you all. So separately මේවා කරනවා. ඒ වගේම සමහර මේක මගේ දන්නවනේ ඕගොල්ලෝ කොහොමත් කලින් ඉඳලා theory එකේ තියෙන මුළු syllabus එකම දවස් දෙකකින් විතර ඔක්කොම recall කරනවා. ඊට පස්සේ SBA වලට අවශ්‍ය key points highlight කරලා වෙනම කරනවා. So those classes will be most of the time I will be conduct live classes, right? නැත්තම් boring ඒවා විදිහට කරන්න බෑ. more active වෙන්න ඕනේ ඒක. So anyway, I hope that next July onwards I will start, first week of July onwards, and most probably I will continue online classes till the election, definitely, right, most of the time. So if it got success, make a හොඳට ළමයි concentrate කරනවා නම් election ඉවර වෙනකන් යනවා, but definitely so අපි ඉක්මනට syllabus එකත් ඉවර කරනවා, then we can move to the papers and I can recall the whole syllabus and we can recall කරලා SBA target කරලා මේවා කරලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ September වෙද්දි exam එක sit කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? So that's the idea. So again the කලින් ආපු revision ළමයි මාව contact කරන්න, then අලුතෙන් ළමයි එනවා නම් මාව contact කරන්න. So the important thing is the restrictions ගැන මම ආයෙ කියන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. I think the other teachers may have mentioned, so මම ඉච්චර ඉතින් සැර නැහැනේ, hard නැහැ උනට. So the restrictions are almost same, right? So you need to on your cameras, right? So the basically අර කිව්ව අනිත් teachers ලා කියන කතන්දරේ එහෙමම තියෙනවා, right? I think so Anitika, the recordings, previously of course I used to give recordings, so here of course so I will make sure that my classes will not clash with any other classes, right? කිසිම class එකක් clash වෙන්නේ නැහැ. So separate group එකක් මේවා කරලානේ කරන්නේ. එතකොට classes clash වෙන්නේ නැහැ කවුරුවත් එක්ක, right? මොන්ටර්ස් ලගේ ඉන්ක්වයර් කරලා මේවා කරලා ක්ලාස් කන්ඩක්ට් කරන කිසිම දෙයක් ක්ලෑෂ් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි එකම දේ ඔයගොල්ලන් ක්ලාසස් මොන හරි මම රෙකෝඩින් යූෂුවල් ප්‍රොවයිඩ් කරන්නේ හදිස්සියවත් just in case KDU ළමයින්ට මොකක් හරි යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ මොකක් හරි වැටලා. එහෙම ක්ලෑෂ් වුණොත් විතරයි, මොන හරි දෙයක් වුණොත් තමයි මම රෙකෝඩින් එක දෙන්නේ. otherwise අර සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අනිත් ටීචර්ස්ලා කොහොමද දෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා කිව්වේ. මම ඒ වගේ මේකක් වුණොත් හදිසියවත් වුණොත් දෙනවා. නැත්තම් recording එක දෙවෙන එකක් නෑ, right? So there should be a significant reason so it should be reasonable thing should be there, right? So otherwise not. Previously of course I used to give them, right? Again, so those are the important things. Again මතක තියාගන්න. So just like so some students think that cases නම් Dr. Ruwanka ගාවට આવත් ගොඩ කියලා cases විතර නෙවෙයි. So theory ආවත් කවුරුත් එහෙම ලේසි fail වෙන්නේ නැහැ, right? So you ask from your seniors, right? So මොකද ගොඩක් අය ලංකාවට එනකම මම කලින් දන්නේ නැහැ ලංකාවට එල්. So cases වලට එද්දි තමයි පස්සේ දැනගන්නේ. ඉතින් so දැන් මම හිතන්නේ with this corona, after corona and quarantine period, then now some students know little bit about me, so you can come, right? Okay, so that's all. So another important day මතක තියාගන්න ළමයි. So the pediatric most important thing is the main subjects are very important. The special the pediatric is very important. That is the most important subject, right? So it has the syllabus is huge as well as very important in because most of you all need to do pediatrics in your internship, right? දැන් ඊයේ පෙරේදා තාවනේ repeat batch එකක් වෙලාත් ගොඩක් දෙනෙන්ට repeat කරන්න වුණා. proper batch එකක් එක්ක ගියොත් අනිවාර්යයෙන් ඊළඟට ඕගලන්ට යන්න වෙන proper batch එකක් එක්ක යන්න වෙනවනේ. ඒ proper batch එකක් එක්ක යද්දි මොකද අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම PEDS තමයි medicine කරන්න තියෙන chance එකත් අඩුයි. PED intern එකේ කරන්න වෙනවා. intern එකේ කරන එක තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලට PG කරන්නේ, right? හරිද? So experience එක මාර important නේ. ඒතකොට PP එකක් කරනවා නම් ආයෙ මොකක්ද ඕනේ වෙන්නේ? the pediatrics, right? pediatrics දන්නේ නැතුව PP කරන්න නම් හිතන්නවත් බෑනේ ළමයි, right? එතකොට the pediatrics is so important. You can't handle a child, right, if you don't do internship or if you don't learn pediatrics very well. So pediatrics is extremely important. I think PP කරන්න, PG කරන්න, intern කරන්න හැම දෙයකම ඕනේ වැඩිම important මැද pediatrics. ඒ වගේම syllabus එක ලොකුම මොකද්ද? medicine ද? නෑ, pediatrics. Right? So සමහර හිතනවා medicine කියලා, medicine වල තියෙන renal failure medicine ped වල තියෙනවද? Yes. CKD මේ මොකද acute liver failure තියෙනවා. ඔව්. සිරෝසිස් තියෙනද ඔය මෙඩිසින් වල තියෙන හැම කන්ඩිෂන් එකක්ම පීඩ්ස් වල තියෙනවා right hypothyroidism hyperthyroid එකම තියෙනවා මොකද adolescent age එකට එද්දී ඒවා ඔක්කොම එනවා SLE ද ඔක්කොම එනවා කිසිම කන්ඩිෂන් එකක් අඩු නැහැ හැබැයි ඒක පීඩ්ස් මෙඩිසින් වල තියෙනවා growth retardation development syndromes genetics vaccination right ඒවා තියෙනවද නැහැ හොඳ මතක තියාගන්න again so pediatrics is important right medicine අපි peds වලදී medicine වලට අදාළ points උත් සමහර questions වලදී අහනවා හැබැයි medicine එකේ අහන්නේ නැහැ peds වලට අදාළ ඒවා right so it's very important so keep in your mind so the pediatrics is extremely important so you should have a clear very good idea then you can if you have a very good clear idea about pediatrics then you can easily perform in your final MBBS you can do well in your internship as well as you can be a very confident doctor right so that's basically I will put a notice among July first week or second week onward start කරන්න හැබැයි start කරන්න ගත්තට පස්සේ පට ගාලා syllabus එක ඉවර කරා ඊට පස්සේ රිවිෂන් ඔක්කොම මුළු සිලබස් එක මේවා කරා මිස් වෙච්ච ළමයින්ට අලෝ ඒ මිස් වෙච්ච ඒවා වලට වෙනම කියලා මේවා කරලා දෙනවා ෆ්‍රී ඊට පස්සේ ඒ අලුතෙන් එනවා නම් මට කියලා කතා කරන්න ඊට පස්සේ මොකද්ද ක්වෙස්චන්ස් පට ගාලා ඔක්කොම ටික ඉවර කරනවා රයිට් මේ පේපර්ස් කරලා මේ මොඩියුල්ස් යද්දිත් නියෝනේටොලොජි යද්දි නියෝනේටොලොජි ඔක්කොම මේවා කරනවා ඒ වගේම පරණ රිවිෂන් එකේ ළමයි හිටියනම් they can join for these theory class free right මොකද ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ටච් එක මම නැති කරන්න කැමති නෑ ඒගොල්ලන් දෙපාරක් පේ කරලා එන්න අවශ්‍ය නෑ so you can join good right that's more than enough right so මතක තියාගන්න ඔන්ලයින් එක වාසි තියෙනවා අපිටත් ලේසි හැබැයි ළමයි most වැදගත්ම දේ ඕගොල්ලෝ හරියට ඉගෙන ගන්නවාද කියලා මට තේරුණොත් හැබැයි කොයි හරි වෙලාවක ළමයින්ගේ performance අඩුයි කියලා මම shift කරනවා live classes වලට right ඉන්ද ඔයගලන්ගේ අද අවශ්‍ය නැහැ හැබැයි live cameras on තියෙන්න වෙනවා ඒ live classes පටන් ගත්තම concentrate වෙනවා මදි නම් performance MCQs දීලා වරදිනවා නම් මම ඒක shift කරනවා class එක live වලට right so දැන් මේ වෙනකන් so most ඒක එච්චර unsuccessful නැත්නම් I will continue definitely will continue till the election good මොකද 60% ඒ විදිහට request කරපු හින්දා right good right so online class paper revision paper 11th SBS 12-year-old girl this is very easy not very easy right 12-year-old girl admitted to pediatric casualty with history of left-sided focal convulsion lasting for 15 minutes she had a febrile illness during last week and had been treated in the private sector. On examination, she is noted to be pale and ecchymosis at punctured site. Her blood pressure was 150 by 100. CNS examination, left side facial nerve palsy, left-sided facial nerve palsy. Following admission, her urine output was found to be 0.5 ml per kg per hour. Results of her investigations as follows. Full blood count 6.6, HB 6.6, WBC 5.8, neutrophils 48%, lymphocytes 42, platelet 48, retic count for 7.3, UFR pus cells 10 to 20, red cells 20, serum albumin plus, stool full report normal, APTT 38 which is normal, INR 1.1. What is the most likely diagnosis? So DIC typical HUS hemolytic uremic syndrome, TTP complex febrile convulsion, and viral encephalitis. So send me your answers quickly. Send me answers quickly. කීප දෙනෙක් කියලා තියෙනවා but again ළමයි මොකද ළමයි උතන online මේකේ ඉන්නවනේ ගොඩක් දෙනෙක් send me answers බයද ඉතින් මට ප්‍රයිවට් මේ ලිහරි යවන්න so ළමයි මේ කාලේ වැරදුනාට කමක් නැහැ right හරිද ලෙඩ්ඩු බලද්දි විතර වර්ධින්න බැරි right ජීවිතේ එකපාරක්වත් වර්ධින්න බෑ පළවෙනියෙන් වර්ධින එක සමහර විට කෙනෙක්ගේ ලයිෆ් එක නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන් එහෙනම් මෙතනදි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ you can make any mistakes right again this is actually we discussed previously about HUS as well as DIC in detail right in previous online classes we discussed hemolytic uremic syndrome and the disseminated intravascular coagulation in detail again it may the DIC must have been discussed in your medicine as well so again we previously we have discussed complex febrile convulsions as well as viral encephalitis so actually we couldn't discuss something about TTP that's an exception so the TTP is something not so common in pediatrics it's mainly seen in medicine it's mainly it's more important in medicine right so because it the so age of onset so usually we see TTP in adolescent and adult children adolescent and adolescents and adults right so that's why it's not so favorite in pediatrics but sometimes so it can get in adolescent age group so that's why sometimes they might ask in your questions so hope you all can remember the hemolytic uremic syndrome so there are three important so මේකේ උත්තර වලදී ළමයි obviously මේක වෙන්න පුළුවන් කවුරුත් උත්තර ඒකේ වෙන viral encephalitis you can't it's not so rational no low platelets low hemoglobin එක ගැලපෙන්නේ නැහැ complex febrile convulsion වෙනවද no why it's කොහොමද ළමයි අනිත් දේවල් ගැලපෙන්නේත් නැහැ අනිත් එක 12-year-old child usually febrile convulsion occurs between 1 month to 6 years of age right so it's so again obviously it will not be the answer so the answer should be either DIC HUS or TTP මේක හරියට ළමයි හරියට අයියයි මල්ලි වගේ තමයි හරිද අයියලා මල්ලිලා වගේ තමයි එක ළඟින් තමයි යන්නේ so all these conditions will cause microangiopathic hemolytic anemia මහා කියලා කියන්නේ ඒකට microangiopathic hemolytic anemia so here the most favorite one in pediatrics the most favorite topic is what the hemolytic uremic syndrome so but the DIC and the TTP also rarely we might ask rarely so මේ case scenario ගත්තාම again can it be DIC no why is that DIC වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද බෑ disseminated intravascular coagulation එකේදී මොකද what is the characteristic feature of course they can have all these counts all these investigation findings but the thing is what usually it will affect the coagulation cascade as well it will affect the clotting part the clotting factors as well so if it involves the coagulation cascade clotting factors what will happen the APTT and the INR should be high significantly high but here the APTT and INR is normal so it's unlikely to be DIC right so when we are discussing about hemolytic uremic syndrome hope you all can remember hemolytic uremic syndrome කියන්නේ මොකක්ද ළමයි so there will be it's most of the time it occurs following an infection where most of the time the infection will be dysentery ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද blood and mucus diarrhea එකකට පස්සේ so after a few days of episode of blood and mucus diarrhea there will be an hyperactivation right there will be an increased activation of W neutrophils the neutrophils overactive වෙනවා hyperactive වෙලා it will produce cytokines where it will damage the small and medium size vessels මේ blood vessels වල තියෙන small and medium size vessels වලට ගිහිල්ලා damage කරනවා හැමතැනම damage කරපුවාම මොකද වෙන්නේ what will happen there will be an platelet accumulation but will there be a clotting factor accumulation no it will happen in the DIC not in the HUS HUS එකේ මොකද මේ platelet accumulate වුණා මේ platelet commonly accumulate වෙන්නේ කොයිද kidneys වල accumulate වුණා මොකද kidney vessels alter වෙනවා so මොකද වෙන්නේ they will go into acute renal failure altered vessels වලින් red blood cells යන්න ගියාම මොකද වෙන්නේ ඒක අස්සේ vessels ඇස්සේ පට ගාලා පුපුරනවා we call it as microangiopathic hemolytic anemia so they will be have an triad where you will notice an triad will be low platelets low hemoglobin and the acute renal failure. Right. So when a patient comes to you, so typical history will be most of the time this HUS occurs in the preschool children as well as in infancy. අවුරුදු 4ට වඩා අඩු අයට තමයි commonly එන්නේ. So what will happen? They will develop an dysentery, then they will develop an sudden onset after 2 to 3 days. They become pale because of the anemia. They will have fatigue and ecchymotic patches due to low platelets, and they will have low urine output due to acute renal failure. So what will happen is, so most of the time it will involve the kidneys. Rarely it can involve whatever the organ, but the other organ involvements comparatively less, right? So most of the time it occurs following a dysentery. So if it occurs following a dysentery, so that is the typical HUS where you will notice blood and mucus diarrhea. But rarely, sometimes there are few children might present without blood and mucus diarrhea. Those things are very rare. We call it as atypical HUS, where this neutrophil activation occurs following an congenital influence or following an pneumonia, right? Streptococcal, maybe following a pneumonia, streptococcal pneumonia. So that is called atypical HUS. So we don't ask about atypical HUS. So we are basically talking about the atypical HUS. So this is a very important, this is very common. This is the commonest commonest cause of renal failure in children. So that's why we commonly ask. So what is important? So if you take a full blood count, what will you notice? HB will be low, platelet will be low, retic count may be high, but the WBC will be significantly high. Why? There will be a neutrophil activation. And the blood picture is very important because it will be characteristic where you will see fragmented red cells with the cells, schistocytes and acanthocytes. So again, the renal functions may be elevated. So basically those are the things. And basically you manage symptomatically. So TTP is what? This is make a meage malli wage. Malli ne me ayya wage. Ayya sarai, right? Mahindai gotai wage. Hari sara mewa. එතකොට මොකද ළමයි මේක වෙන්නේ ගෝට නේ ඉතින් අයි අනිත් පැත්ත ගහන්න වෙනවා right මොකද්ද ළමයි වෙන්නේ so what will happen most of the time the age of onset will be adolescent and or adult ලොකු අයට තමයි commonly එන්නේ most of the time there is a special enzyme is there in the body that is called metalloproteinase කියලා special enzyme එකක් තියෙනවා which involves in the thrombotic activation thrombus activate කරන involve වෙනවා මේක mutation එකක් වුණොත් මොකද හැමතැනම thrombus හදනවා that is the problem so this TTP occurs when there is a problem in the metalloproteinase problem එකක් තිබුත් තැන් වල ගිහලා thrombi ඇති වෙනවා thrombus formation so again so this TTP can occur following a congenitally that is an autosomal recessive or sometimes following an insult the insult can be following an infection autoimmune condition drugs or malignancy so when that is acquired so when there is an damage to the metalloproteinase, there will be an platelet accumulation in the blood vessels. So the generalized platelet count will be low. So platelet again mainly accumulate just like in HUS, it will accumulate in the renal vessels. Renal vessels are commonly in. So again the same thing will happen. So they will have microangiopathic hemolytic anemia, low platelets and the acute renal failure. But the problem is what? They will have a fever as well as they will have a characteristic another area will get involved that is very characteristic kidney විතරක් නෙමෙයි kidney වලට අමතරව commonly ඒතනත් involve වෙනවා හරි භයානකයි ඒකයි භයානක TTPs very dangerous right ඕක common මාර common what is that they can have cerebral thrombi so they can have something like stroke උන්ටනක functioning plot එකක් ඇති කරන්න පුළුවන් right so that is the problem. So the investigations almost same. Full blood count, it's almost same, but the neutrophil count will be not so high. Why? So in HUS, of course, it was very high because it occurs due to neutrophil activation. But here the mechanism is a bit different. It will not be so high. Blood picture will be almost same. Renal functions will be almost same. But if you check and stool full report, most of the time it will be negative, where the HUS most of the time it will be positive, where you might see either infection or red cells. Then how are you going to confirm whether it is then හරියටම කියන්න බෑන් clinically එකම වගේ HUS මේකයි දෙකම එකම වගේ. එහෙමනම් මොකද how are you going to differentiate? So you can do the metalloproteinase level කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක check කරොත් metalloproteinase level will be low in TTP but it will be normal in HUS. So enzyme level එක බලපුවම ඒක අඩුයි. So HUS management basically very supportive, but the TTP, the main management is plasma pheresis. ඕක තමයි දැනගන්න ඕනේ. So just quick recall HUS versus TTP. Age less than preschool or infancy. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? less than 4 years. Here adolescent and adults. මේක මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? following infection mainly a dysentery. මේක වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? Problem in the metalloproteinase enzyme, either congenital or acquired. Clinical features ගත්තොත් the classical triad will be there in both renal failure, microangiopathic hemolytic anemia and low platelets. The triad will be there in both, but the problem is මේගොල්ලන්ට fever එන්න පුළුවන් TTP යට. ඒ වගේම common complication එක මොකද්ද? CNS thrombus එන්න පුළුවන්. Here මේක less common. මේක CNS thrombus හැදෙන එක very common. If you investigate full blood count එක දෙකේම almost same picture, but neutrophil activation will be more prominent in HUS. Neutrophil will be very high. Blood picture almost same, renal functions almost same, TTP renal deterioration comparatively less. But you won't be able to differentiate. Tools will report most of the time HUS it will be positive. Here most of the time it will be negative. Metalloproteinase level HUS usually normal. Here it will be reduced. Management wise, symptomatic management, here the plasma pheresis. Right? So you should be able to differentiate, right? So have a rough idea. Don't study in depth, right? The TTP, DIC ගැන pediatrics වල කටව පාඩම් කරගෙන අම්මෝ මේක එහෙම කරන්නේ නැහැ. Just have a rough idea. නිකන් idea එකක් දැනගන්න. අපි ගොඩාක් අහන්නේ මොකද්ද? ඇහුවොත් අහන්නේ HUS ගැන, right? මේක question එක දැම්මට this is not a past paper question, right? So ඒ හින්දා මතක තියාගන්න අපි TTP ගැන වැඩියම undergraduate level එකේ අහන්නේ නැහැ in pediatrics. But it might ask in your medicine, right? Of course. මොකද ලොකු අයට මේක common, right? ඉතින් peds වල අහන්න බෑ කියලා නීතියක් නැහැ, but not so common. That's why I want you to study HUS in detail, but have a rough idea about DTP and DIC, right? So this is very obvious. So the answer is what? So here they have mentioned 12-year-old girl. That is what? Again, adolescent age, pediatric casualty ward with the history of focal convulsion. That is almost like unilateral involvement of the brain for 15 minutes. That has lasted for more than 5 minutes, which has been febrile illness during the last week. Has been treated for previous private sector. On examination, she was noted to be pale, HBRD, ecchymotic, puncture site, platelets are doing. Then her blood pressure was 150 by 100. That is high because of the renal involvement. CNS, there's a left-sided facial nerve palsy because of the stroke. Following admission, urine output was low. Full blood count investigation, again the WBC, HB low, platelet low, but the WBC and the neutrophil counts are normal. Retic count as a compensation, of course. In all three conditions, it will be high. UFR kidney involvement, stool full report, normal, right? So the APTT and INR also normal. So what is the most likely diagnosis? Very obvious. If you have a rough idea, then the answer is TTP. Right. Good. So 5-year-old girl with a history of oliguria, hematuria, and difficulty in breathing. On examination, her respiratory rate is 44, pulse rate is 120, and has tender hepatomegaly. There are bilateral crepitations on both lung bases. What is the most appropriate therapeutic intervention? Captopril, IV furosemide, oral penicillin, spironolactone, and the sublingual nifedipine. So send me an answer quickly. එවලන්නේ සමහර අය කලින්ම good very good ඒක ලේසි ඒක කට්ටිය දන්නවා very good so this is very obvious very good very good very good දන්නේවට පට ගාලා උත්තර එනවා very good so this is very easy very obvious one so very favorite one again the most important key point is what is this condition of course this is a very so on examination respiratory rate high pulse rate is high tender hepatomegaly high hepatomegaly and the bilateral Krebs what is this condition heart failure තමයි ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන heart failure. But they have mentioned oliguria, hematuria. What is this? Oliguria, hematuria. What's the reason? Tell me, heart failure. ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා මෙයාට heart failure drugs නෙවෙයි දීලා තියෙන්නේ. So what is this condition? 5-year-old girl, oliguria, hematuria, difficulty in breathing, on heart failure. What is the underlying cause? Very good, Fonseca. Very good. What is this? Nephritic, or the most probably it can be post-streptococcal. But yes, nephritic or the acute glomerular nephritis. That is the underlying cause, right? Keep in your mind that sometimes post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis most of the time occurs in the early schooling age, right? 5 years to 10, 12 years වගේ age එකේ එන්නේ. එතකොට මේ age group එකේ එද්දී keep in mind most of the time they might not notice that they have hematuria. ගෑන් ළමෙක් ළමයි ස්කොට් කරලා ඉඳගෙන urine pass කරාට පස්සේ සමහර ගිහලා toilet එක බලන්නේ නැහැනේ. ඒ ළමයි they might not notice, right? So most of the time they will present with an acute complication. So there are 3 main complications are there. One thing is acute renal failure. Other one is pulmonary edema or the heart failure, acute heart failure. And the other one is hypertensive encephalopathy. Those are the most important 3 complications which can develop following acute glomerular nephritis. So this child has presented with acute heart failure or the pulmonary edema following acute glomerular nephritis. So you should be able to identify, right? So when a patient comes to you with that history, so you should be able with an examination. Now you know the patient is having heart failure. So you need to give treatment. So when you want treat, so is it an emergency? Yes. මේ ළමයට හුස්ම ගන්න බෑ respiratory tachycardia. So එහෙනම් මොකද්ද කරන්න ඕන? එහෙනම් මොකද්ද කරන්න ඕන? You have to give IV drugs. IV නේ දෙන්න ඕන. Can you give oral? No, you have to give IV drugs. So IV drugs වලදී මොකද්ද? So post-streptococcal කියලා penicillin දීලා eradicate කරලා you have to manage the emergency first. එහෙමනම් මොකද්ද දෙන්න ඕනේ? You have to give IV furosemide. That is very obvious. So answer is B. Good. So 8-month-old boy presented with itchy rash, which is most discomforting at night. On examination, the rash is disturbed predominantly on the palms and soles and groin, head and neck areas. Skin excoriation was there. What is the best therapeutic option? This is an past question. Aqueous cream, miconazole, topical hydrocortisone 5%, permethrin, and benzyl benzoate. So send me your answers. Send me your answers. Very good, extreme, very good. If you can, very good. So again, is it the characters now? Those who I taught about these scabies previously, right? So this is the case scenarios of is it scabies or is it the fungal or is it eczema? Yes, scabies. Scabies are papules එන්න පුළුවන්ද? මේ papules එන්න පුළුවන්ද මේ soles palms වල දෙන්නේ? එහෙම දෙන්නේ ස්කේබීස් අයට මෙහෙ නෙමෙයි දෙන්නේ palms වලයි soles වලයි දෙන්නේ palms වල soles වල එනවද ස්කේබීස් අයට yes or no send me your answer sure Meera are you sure yes right ළමයි මොකද්ද මේගොල්ලන් එයාගේ age group එක මොකද්ද 8 months right so what is scabies is what I have taught I'm just quickly rushing right about this topic so scabies mainly occurs following a the mite right following a mite disorder so Sarcoptes scabies is the organism that is a mite මේ sarcoptes scabies කියන mite ආවෝ කියලා කියන සිංහල right බුල්ල වගේ જાතියක් right. So again caused by mites. So the thing is mainly caused by it's caused by female mites right. ගෑනු සතා තමයි මදුරු වගේ නරක එක ගෑනු right. මිනිහාගේ මදුරු වගේ හැමෝගෙම වගේම නරක සතා කවුද ගෑනු. So again it will caused by female mites. So again sarcoptes scabies. So there are you know that there in skin there are several layers are there where the upper layer is called stratum corneum, sorry, epidermis. So skin එකේ තියෙන epidermis, dermis and the subcutaneous tissues. Epidermis එකේ layers ගොඩාක් තියෙනවා. The most upper layer is what? The stratum corneum. So මේ sarcoptes scabies mite එක මොකද කරන්නේ ළමයි මේක ගිහිල්ලා කනවා. කාලා මොකද කරන්නේ ළමයි මෙන්න මෙතන කනවා. කාලා මේක අස්සේ රින්ගනවා වලට. මෙයා වල හාරගෙන කොහෙද යන්නේ? මේ stratum corneum එක දිගේ තමයි යන්නේ. So it will penetrate the stratum corneum. So සාමාන්‍ය මේගොල්ලෝ කන්න ආස තැනක් තියෙනවා. ආස තැන commonly infect වෙන තැන තියෙනවා. So what is the commonest site which involves which can infect this by scabies mites? What are the commonest site? මතක තියාගන්න. Keep in your mind the common. So mainly it will affects the areas where you will have thin and wrinkled skin. හමතුනි හැබැයි stratum corneum එක ඝනයි. හැබැයි wrinkle වෙච්ච තැන stratum corneum එක ඝනයි. So ඒ හින්දා මොකද වෙන්නේ මේවා වුණාම wrinkle වෙච්ච තැන් වල තමයි එන්නේ. So wrinkling commonly තියෙන තැන කොහෙද? අපි නිතර touch කරන කොහෙද? the in between the finger webs. So that is the commonest site, right? So this is highly infective, right? Highly infective. ගෑවෙන්නේ කොයිද? ගෑවෙන්නේ කොයිද? මමත් එහෙම සාමාන්‍ය ලෙඩෙක් කවුරු හරි ආව ස්කේබිස් ලෙඩෙක් ඊට පස්සේ මොකද කරන්නේ? එහෙම පුටුව දාන්න කියන ඇටෙන්ඩන්ට් ආවුවට මොකද මේ වෙන්න පුළුවන් ඉතින්. මාර ඉන්ෆෙක්ටිව්, right? මේ ගෑවෙනවා ටක් ගලන් ගෑවෙනවා යනවා. ඒ හින්දා තමයි අතින් අල්ල ගෑවුන ගොඩක් වෙලා අම්මෙක් බබෙක් හැල්ලුවොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? අන්න යන්න පුළුවන්. So they commonly involves the finger webs, right? So but sometimes it can involve the other areas as well. Well, where the wrinkling is more prominent. Hamatu rally heiche time වැඩිපුර තියෙනවා. What are the areas? So belt line, wrist, elbows, axilla, belt line, around the penis, around the nipple, right? ඔය වගේ තැන් වල again it's common. So what will you notice? කන තැන මොකද වෙන්නේ? They will be unpapular. Then ඒගොල්ලෝ canal එක වගේ වල වගේ හාරගෙන යනවා. So externally you might notice something මෙහෙම prominent වෙලා තියෙනවා. What do you call that? You call it as burrow. So you will notice an papule and a burrow. Burrow is very characteristic, right? So they will have it will so මේක ඇතුලෙන් මේ සතා ගියාට පස්සේ මොකද කරන්නේ? ඇතුළට වෙලා මොකද කරන්නේ? Yes. ඒකත් කරන්න පුළුවන්, sex කරන්නත් පුළුවන්, but more than that ඊට වඩා වැදගත් දේවල් තියෙනවා. They might මොකද්ද බිත්තර දාන්න පුළුවන්. They might the pass feces, right? බිත්තර දාන්න පුළුවන්, feces pass කරන්න පුළුවන්. These excreta are highly allergic. So they will have severe itching. කසනවා බස ගාලා කසනවා. එහෙම වුණාම මොකද වෙන්නේ ළමයි? මේගොල්ලන් කසනවා. That is very characteristic. So papule, burrow and severe itching. So those are the very characteristic features in scabies. දැන් මොකද්ද ළමයි? මේක the itching will be more prominent at night. Right. But the problem is in infants they have a very immature skin. And the very immature skin and the stratum corneum also very thin. So what will happen in infants? Of course, it will not involve only the wrinkle area. It will be more generalized. මුළු ඇඟේම එනවා. මුළු ඇඟේම lesions එන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි මොකද්ද? හොඳට stratum corneum එක හොඳට thick තැනක් තියෙනවා ලස්සනට ගිහලා මේ වෙලා ඉන්න පුළුවන් තැනක්. What are those areas? So palms and soles. ඒ වල පොඩ්ඩක් thick ඉන්න ඕක අස්සෙන් ලස්සනට ඉන්න පුළුවන්. So you will classically notice the involvement of the palms and soles, but it can be involved all over the body, mainly neck, head, areas involved in the පුළුවන්. Face usually involved in all, but palms and soles are very characteristic. Palms, soles and generalized. So infancy එකේදී තමයි එන්නේ. But after infant period, most of the time it will involve where the wrinkling will be more prominent, where the interdigital space. So how are you going to diagnose? Basically, it's very clinical, very obvious. You will notice the papule and maybe a burrow. So the infants like a burrow එක usually නැහැ. ඇයි? stratum corneum එක තියෙන. ඒ හින්දා ඒක නැහැ. අර papule එක prominently තියෙන palms and soles. So how I can diagnose? Basically clinical, the characteristic lesion will be there. The papules and the burrow and also highly itching. And sometimes in your exams also cases of the ඕක බලන්න පුළුවන්. scabies miscellaneous case එකක් විදියට දුන්නත් ඕගලන්ගේ බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන rash එක identify කරාට පස්සේ තව දෙයක් බලන්න. What is that? මොකද්ද බලන්න ඕනේ දේ අනිත් එක? You have to examine අනිත් areas examine කරනවාට අමතරව තව දෙයක් බලන්න ඕනේ especially. What is that? You have to examine. Send me your answer. Examine. Very good, Linsha. Mother's hand. අම්මගේ අත් දෙක බලන්න ඕනේ because it's highly infective. මේ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So you have to examine. So very characteristic. So you can identify clinically. But sometimes the problem is what? Because of severe itching, severe scratching. Scratch කළා මොකද then the primary lesion can get altered, right? So alter වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So දැක්කම නිකන් විකෘතියක් වෙලා දකින්නේ. So sometimes it might be a bit difficult to identify. In such cases, you can do where you can do some skin scraping and you can examine with microscope. You can do some skin scraping and you can examine via light microscope where you will see either mites, feces or eggs. So if you don't treat this condition, what are the problems? So this is highly allergic. So what will happen? They can have urticarial rash. Of course, so if they have eczema and psoriasis, had මොකද දින අම්මෝ කසන්න නම් එපා වැඩි වෙයි කියලා. ඒ ආසේ මොකද මේ කසනවා මේ ස්කේබීස් උත් ඇවිල්ලා එහෙම මොනවද මොකද they will have eczema herpeticum. So this can be severe, they can develop severe eczema. තද eczema එකක් develop වෙන්න පුළුවන්. eczema and psoriasis they might develop flares or reactivation. So sometimes after scratching they can develop bacterial infections. On top of scratching they can have on a bacterial infection. So this might produce some immunological reaction where they can develop important condition. Sometimes they might ask in cases also and MCQs, what is that? They can develop scabies said මොකක්ද දෙන්න post infected scabies වලින් මොකක්ද දෙන්න පුළුවන් කසල infect වුණාට පස්සේ immunological reaction මොකක්ද දෙන්න පුළුවන් මොකක්ද දෙන්නේ? Send me an answer. Very good, Melanie. PSG and post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis. That is the commonest cause of post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis in worldwide, not in Sri Lanka. Worldwide commonest cause of glomerulonephritis. So there's another entity called complication is there, Nowen scabies, where Nowen scabies is something where the people might develop very crusted scabies, where they will have thick keratin crust. Scabies හැරලා thick keratin crust එකක් හැදෙනවා skin එකේ. ඒක ASSE ඉන්න පුළුවන් large amount එකක් නිකන් bulk එකක් එන්න lot එකක් ඒක ASSE බුදියගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන් scabies mitesලා. So this is highly infective, highly allergic. Mainly you will notice in immunodeficiency people and the patients who are in immunodeficiency as well as in prisons. Right? ඔයගොල්ලෝ මතක ඇති අර බලු තීන්දුව කියලා SB දිසානායකට යන්න උනානේ කූඩුවට. ඊට පස්සේ මේක ඉන්නලා ඊට පස්සේ මොකද උනේ? එක හීරකාරයෙක් ඉන්නලා පස්සේ එයාව එළියට ගන්න දුනා. මොකද he had Nowen scabies, right? වටේ ඉන්න අයගෙන් මේ වෙලාව බෝ වෙලා හැදුනා. So it's important, right? So you should know the side effects. So side effects: urticarial rash, reactivation of flares of eczema or psoriasis, then secondary bacterial infection, post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis, and the Nowen scabies. So the treatment again ළමයි වැදගත් දේවල් වගේක් තියෙනවා. So one thing is of course you need to eradicate the these scabies mites. So මොකද්ද කරන්න ඕනේ? So you have to treat whole family, මුළු පවුලටම treat කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට මතක තියාගන්න ළමයි treat කරද්දි මොනවද අපි කරන්නේ? So there are several options are there. What are the options? You have there are so many drugs are there. So what are the famous drugs? Permethrin කියලා තියෙනවා. Sulfoinment කියලා තියෙනවා. That's also used for scabies. BB cream or the benzyl benzoate cream, garment sector එකේ හරියට available, right? That is there. Linden or Taboma කියලා කියන්නේ ඒක. ඒක තියෙනවා. Malthion ඒවා ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. හැබැයි මතක තියාගන්න ඔය ඔක්කොම දැනගන්න ඕනේ. Just have a rough idea. මෙහෙම බෙහෙත් තියෙනවා කියලා. But the more important key point is what the drug of choice is what? Permethrin is the drug of choice. Okay, more effective, right? මතක තියන්න කිසිම එකක resistance නැහැ. හැබැයි effectiveness wise ගත්තොත් the permethrin is the most important, most effective drug, right? ඒකට infants ලාට use කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? infants ලාට use කරන්න පුළුවන් මෝන involve වෙලා නැත්තම්. එතකොට infants ලාට use කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේ කෘමිනාශකයක් මෝන involve වෙලා නම් need to use cautiously, or you can recommend sulfur. So මෙයාගේ face එක involved වෙලා නැහැ head neck උනාට. So you can use permethrin without any restriction. So මතක තියාගන්න ඕක තමයි වැදගත්. So again you need to make ඕක තමයි වැදගත් key point. So again you need to treat the whole family because highly infective. So and you need to ideally you should apply it and keep it for 12 hours, then wash it with a warm bath. Then you have to repeat it for 3 consecutive days. MCQs වල අහන්නේ practically ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැනගන්න හින්දා ඔක ඇඟේ ගාලා පැය 12ක් තියාගන්න කියලා උණු වතුරෙන් පොඩ්ඩක් නානවා. ලා උණු වතුරෙන්. ඊට පස්සේ මොකද මේ උන් ටික මැරෙනවා. මේක කෘමිනාශකයක් පර්මිත්‍රින් කියන්නේ. මේ ගිහලා සත්තු ටික මැරෙනවා. හැබැයි බිත්තර වල ඉන්න ඒවා ඒවා ටික මැරෙන්න මොකද කරන්නේ? දවස් 3ක් එක දිගට නානවා. Right? You have to treat the whole family and you need to dry clothes dry කරන්න ඕනේ under direct sunlight, right? Under direct sunlight you have to dry your clothes. And sometimes you have to give symptomatic treatment. Kasala MCQs just for so pediatrics manage කරද්දි practically manage කරන්න ගියාම ඔය දැනගන්න එපා. kasala secondary bacterial infection එකක් ඇවිල්ලා තිබ්බොත් you may need to give topical antibiotics. කසනවා ගොඩාක් වැඩි නම් you may need to give antihistamines or crotamine cream කියලා තියෙනවා. So itching අඩු කරන එක. ඒක දෙන්න පුළුවන්. So those are options. And also just MCQs වල අහන්නේ just have an idea, right? සමහර වෙලාවට අම්මලා ඉන්නවා ළමයි ට්‍රීට් කරලා දවස් 3ක් ගෑවට පස්සේ තනේ ડોක්ටර් තාම බබා බස ගාලා කසනවානේ කියලා. What is the reason? This itching occurs due to what? Mites ලා හින්දා මේ කසන්නේ නෑ, because of this excreta, allergic excreta, right? So සමහර මේ feces මේවා හින්දා. ඒ හින්දා මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඒවා ටික සම්පූර්ණයෙන් skin එකකින් eliminate වෙනකන් සමහරට දවස් 3ක් apply කරාට පස්සේ සමහර සතියක් විතර කසන්න පුළුවන්, right? So those are practical points, but the more key important point is what? So drug of choice for scabies is permethrin, right? So here the question they have asked 8-month-old, an infant කෙනෙක්ගේ itchy rash was most discomforting at night. රාට තමයි අමාරු වෙන්නේ. On examination rash is distributed predominantly on the palms and soles, head and head, groin and neck. Monkey generalized වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Palms and soles වල very characteristic. Skin excoriation was there. What is the best therapeutic option? Aqueous cream more important වෙන්නේ මොකේද? Eczema. Miconazole important වෙන්නේ antifungal එකට. Again hydrocortisone more important වෙනවා whatever the eczema වගේ conditions වලට තමයි again more important වෙන්නේ. So permethrin and benzoyl benzoate both can be given for can be used to treat scabies, but benzoyl benzoate usually we don't recommend below 5 years of age. වයස අවුරුදු 5ට වඩා අඩු අයට අපි සාමාන්‍ය use කරන්නේ නැහැ. So the drug of choice is one, always the permethrin. Clear there? So that's about so I just did this class to just to recall your memory, and I want you to keep in touch with the pediatrics, right? Well, pediatric touch again on, so I might do several papers until I start these live online classes. So not the live, sorry, online regular classes. So මතක තියාගන්න ඔයගලගේ ටච් එකේ තියාගන්න ඕනේ. ඒ හින්දා තමයි regular classes start කරනකොට සමහර විට මේවා කරා most probably you might start first week or second week of July, right? So I think so if you have anything you can always contact me. Feel free to contact. So hope you learn a lot today. So again I saw that most of you all didn't have a clear idea about this the physiological anemia of infancy, right? So again අනිත් questions වලත් සමහර අයගේ answers හරියටම තිබ්බේ නැහැ. And so you have a very clear idea about the theory part. So hope you learn a lot today. So I hope you had a clear idea about the questions. So we'll meet up again, right? So have a nice day. So see you again. Bye.